Sunday morning, it is the time when I know it came a little hot there. A little hot.
Wow.
But that's what we do, Sean. It's okay. We're going to talk about
Like
the
my
patrons.
coffee.
We're going to talk about the patrons over on Patreon. And we got our amazing gold members, kind of like Austin Power, with Brendan Myers, James Johnson, Ryan Turford, Coach Timbo, Sheldon Benedict, and Dawn Becker. Then we move into our platinum producers, the two that just love to post some amazing, loving pictures in our Discord. You need to check them out. Nasty Boots and Tammy, love them too. Amazingness. And then we have our diamond executive producers, Bobby Miller, Corey Hicks, Jonathan Brown. It's time for that sweet, sweet hang with my sweet, sweet Sean Capra.
We ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 169 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all the mother-loving land, Mr. Sean Capra.
Bobby,
What's up, Sean?
you are coming at this thing with a kind of energy, man. I don't know what is up, but by the way, episode 169, what is up, everybody?
Yeah, what is up? I can tell you what's up.
I can tell you what's down, too.
Which
one are you?
I'm way up, way up. I was about to hit my desk. And but I was like,
everybody, just relax, just relax. Everybody, Flux the Posed had a bit of a goofy show this week, so I think the energy is kind of bleeding on over into here. And if you guys don't check out Flux the Posed, first shout out of the day, Bobby, Jason Lacey, Lucas Rose, those guys. I don't know what they're smoking this week. It was hilarious, so dude. Good times.
Good Lord.
Good times. Lord. Good to see you, man. There's something weird's happening today.
Well,
we've been chatting a bit already as it goes, and I've almost done my coffee.
I haven't even had coffee yet today. How's that tell you?
Yeah,
bottle of water. That's it.
Bottle of water.
Yeah, that's
what
it.
Is going on?
I want to I'm going to bring the tone down for a second before we lift it back up, and I want to talk about I want to talk about the Nintendo Talk podcast.
Okay.
That is kind of going away for a little bit. Good friend of mine, Toby Thornton, reached out to me yesterday, just having some personal things that he's working through at the moment, and just asked if we could take a little hiatus. It could be permanent. It could be a couple weeks. I don't know. But if you are a fan of that show, please do me a favor. Just send a little tweet to Toby. Tell him you love him. Tell him you're thinking about him. He is a fantastic human being, one of my best friends in all the land. And, he's helped me through some amazing times and some bad times, and and pushed me to elevate me. And so I would like to, if we can reciprocate and show him that we love him, that we're thinking about him, that would be fantastic. But what that's going to do is we're going to make some changes, and with it, not this coming week, but the week after, there should be something pretty awesome happening, and I think everybody's going to be excited about it. So yeah. What's that?
Don't worry about it. It's not for you. It's for the audience.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I
sent out a tweet. I said, thinking of you today, Toby's take. You're an awesome dude, heart. And then I got that little monkey hug thing that they got. The guy goes like, come here. And then the guy runs to give him the cute little hug. So
it's at Toby's_take. Send him a little tweet. Tell him you love him. That is all for now. So what else you got there, Sean?
Are we doing, well, what are we doing right now?
Shoutouts.
Okay,
so you started with the shoutouts. I forgot. We got to kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shoutouts.
I don't have any. Damn it!
I have a geek out.
Prepared.
But since I can't geek out no more for a little bit, I have a geek out.
You saw Joker.
Well, that's different. No, that's different. I'm actually going to be on a podcast later today. Secret Friends Unite. They are bringing me in. They're bringing me every time DC does a big film. They bring me in to do spoiler cast. So I am doing the Joker spoiler cast with them.
Nice.
And I am ready to talk. Let me tell you what.
Nice, man. I saw your tweet that Joaquin Phoenix, perhaps a better Joker.
I called my dad right when I got out of the theater, and I said, "I'm going to tell you right now. Never thought it could be possible.
No way.
But I never in my life thought I would say the words that this was a better Joker than Heath Ledger. But I tell you what, and I'm not going spoilers, so trust me, you're fine here. But Joey Ferris came at me a little bit. It was like, well, they're two different roles. My comparison is the Joker to comic books. And if you want a Joker that's pulled from the pages,
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Really?
Oh my God. This is it in a big bad way.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I don't really read the comics, so knowing that like I might be missing something, so it's like, but I guess knowing is better than
as much as
like,
people
I'm definitely missing something.
As much as people love Heath Ledger, that's not a Joker from the comic books.
Right.
It's its own take, its own vision. This is Joaquin's take and vision, but very much like
interesting
how the Joker gets to where he is, and it's so amazing.
Well, my wife, just yesterday, she did a wedding yesterday. She calls me up. She's like, "Hey, can you check out Showtimes for Joker?" And I'm like, "Excuse me? Like, we haven't seen a movie since Bumblebee, dude. Like, it's been a while, man.
You're due.
But we're thinking Wednesday night. I think it's gonna happen. So this is gonna be like the first movie we've seen together in a long, long time. Like, I saw Avengers with my sister, for God's sakes, just because her husband and my wife we couldn't figure out like childcare stuff. So that's kind of how that all worked. So I'm glad you're gonna be on that show, dude.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Speaking of Todd Oxtra, I wanted to give a shout out to Todd Oxtra and Lee Navarro. Because Lee Navarro was on that show, dude. They did a whole like PC talk, dude.
Yeah.
You would love it. They talked about RAM and GPUs and CPUs and power units. I'm not sure what the
Lee is fantastic, dude.
It comes so naturally to Lee. He just got into his rhythm and he just flowed and talked about PC gaming. And it was, for me, like that's like where I grew up. Like while everybody else was playing like N64, I was playing Half-Life on my PC. And I just like right back at it, dude. Yeah. And I love hearing Lee talk, and Lee and Todd, they just know this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, like not like a faker like me. Like they know this stuff. So I want to give a shout out to Lee and Todd. Secret Friends Unite. I think Lee was covering for Mark. He was out for a week. Maybe was he at Disneyland or Disney World or something?
Yeah, he was at Disney World. Yeah.
So and shout out to Mark Carabin, man.
Yeah, I love that dude.
Yeah, dude. Just a classy dude.
Well, Todd was on Nintendo Talk last week.
Right.
He filled in for Toby and did a fantastic job. I love talking to Todd. He is very knowledgeable, very
came on
very
with
fun.
His Sony headsets. His Sony Gold.
I was ready to choke him. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, bro. Like,
that was so good.
You come on this show with those things?
Oh, I love Todd.
You're a hateful son of a. Anyway.
That was you guys have such a weird relationship.
Yeah, it's a great relationship. It's
so weird. It's so weird. I have a bunch. I have a few, if that's all right. All right. So Barry Dunn.
Oh yes.
Reaches out to me just the other day, and he's like, "Hey man, do you want a code for that new ukulele game?" I'm like, "To what do I owe this?" Like, it's been a while since we've chatted. And he just kind of comes up out of nowhere, and he's like, "Here, have this code. This he gave it to me for Xbox. I think he got a few for the various systems, and I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. You know what I mean? Like that game was not on my radar. First of all,
it's been on my radar.
Said on the Xbox Drive last week, I'm like, you know what? Because we were doing like an October preview, and like all these big games are coming out, and then like ukulele's mentioned. I'm like, gonna have to do something more than that to kind of get my attention when we've got like Destiny 2 and The Outer Worlds and Call of Duty and all these things are coming out, and then Barry Dunn comes around, gives me this code, and can I tell you, Bobby? The game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I cannot put it down. It is actually phenomenal. The streaming embargo is up on Monday, which is weird because the reviews are out. This game is awesome, dude. This game is actually awesome. They should have launched with this one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It is so good.
Yeah. I think they didn't launch with this one because they were trying to grip the nostalgia with
for sure, the Banjo-Kazooie
thing. But this was better because my understanding is this is like Donkey Kong Country. Like this is their take of Donkey Kong Country, and they are the originators of Donkey Kong Country. So it's pretty awesome to see them back in doing this. Because
I don't know if people are comparing it to Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends. It has a bit of a goofy kind of like Rayman feel to it as well. And like even the overworld where you're going from like level to level, that's a level in and of itself.
Yeah.
All these puzzles and all these different things. Like I spent most of last night, I didn't even jump into a level.
Yeah.
I'm just like finding new paths, and like you can bomb this brick over here and then unlock a whole other thing. And then you can change the levels where there's a waterfall, and I can change where it's going to go, and I can flood a level, and then it becomes a water level.
Yeah.
So I was playing this thing, and it's got like that same. So speaking of Donkey Kong Country, you're swimming through, and that music, it's like that music from Donkey Kong Country. It's got that same.
Well, they got Grant
like
Kirkhope. Grant Kirkhope is
so
back.
good.
Yeah. The thing for me is this: that game was not on my radar at all. I wanted nothing to do with that game because I didn't like Yooka-Laylee, the first one, the 3D one. I felt like it wasn't that good. And that's harsh to say, but I really do. I feel like the mechanics, like, it just wasn't intuitive. It didn't feel good to play that game at all. I don't know what it was. It just it didn't vibe with me at all. So this wasn't on my radar. When they announced it, I was like, nope, didn't like the last one. I'm not going to mess with it. Then at E3, they showcased it, Nintendo at Treehouse Live.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this looks pretty good, man. This might be something I want. And
it is.
And it's definitely... Because Barry reached out to me too, and I was just like, I don't want to play it on Xbox. I want to play it on the Switch.
Well, thanks for turning it down, because I was probably next in line, so I appreciate that.
I was like, no.
It's great. Dude, I want to just say this about it. I was so turned off by the first one that's why this wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't think that Yuka or Laylee are great characters. I think their design is actually pretty bland.
Yeah.
Which is too bad that they I feel like they almost held back in the first one, because now I really get to love them, but I'm like, they don't look all that. That's my one criticism, and that's going to carry throughout the franchise, unfortunately. But Gary Dunn is at youtube.com/ImpactGameStation.
Barry Dunn.
What did I say?
Gary Dunn.
I said Barry. I said Barry.
You said Gary.
Oh, stop.
You did! No.
Well, the tape... Okay, well, obviously we're talking about Barry Dunn. Goodness gracious.
I think you got confused with Gary Gray for a minute.
Gary Gray is being very sweet to me as well. He bought an Xbox, and he's like, hey, this is thanks to you. So shout out to Gary Gray. Welcome to the family. youtube.com/ImpactGameStation.
Yes.
And my God, Barry. Always been a very kind person to me. I really, I don't deserve it, to be honest with you, but thank you, Barry. Or Gary, or whoever.
Do you have another shout out?
Yeah, I got a couple. I told you.
Go ahead. Get through them.
Really quickly. Shout out, high five, and a hug to Alex Van Aken. I love you. Justin Masson pops into my streams on Thursday nights, and he goes, psst, Nintendo Dads are live. And we do this funny thing where I think I've talked about this before, where I will throw up their live stream on my Twitch, and I'll blow kisses to them, and I'll be talking to Justin, seeing if he's listening to me. So he's podcasting, he's talking to Jesse and Marty, and then every once in a while I'll say, like, hey, Justin, if you're listening, like, give me a little wink or a little smooch or whatever. So he's talking to Jesse, and then he looks into the camera, he gives a little, like, hey, look. It is amazing. So we've had a lot of fun lately.
Is that why you said something like, I'll be there on there?
So after this, so my chat at twitch.tv/Sean Capri, they all jump into Nintendo Dad's chat, and they invade it. They're completely distracting. The guys who are podcasting, they look over to the chat like, what the hell is happening? It's like a midstream raid. Like, when you raid, you finish your stream, you raid somebody, you go over.
Yeah.
We don't stop my stream, though. Like, I just send everybody over there, and they're like, Capri says hi, Capri wants to be on the show, all these different things. And so by the end, I went back to actually, like, doing the stream, and people start popping up in my stream saying, Justin wants you on the show. They've just invited you to be on the show next week. So I jump back over, I talk to Justin, he's like, yeah, episode 250, it would be great if you could be on. And I'm like, you know what? That's a huge honor, because everything starts with Nintendo Dads. Dude.
Yeah, dude. I haven't been invited back in a couple of years. I think I kind of burned my welcome there. I don't think that they're, the reason being is because when I was married and they would have me on the show, it was so late. But I'm not married no more, guys. Like,
there you go.
I can come back on if you'll have me. I don't know if they like me enough anymore, but that's fine. But that's awesome, dude. I'm glad you're gonna be on there.
I'm so stoked. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Well, Justin had to come back from Ireland. We had to have the Canadian connection. Exactly. He lost his core identity for a little bit, but it's okay. It's all good. So shout out to Justin, Barry, Alex, Lee, Todd, everybody. It's all good, man. There, I'm done.
Okay.
You want to finish your novel later?
No, I'm doing something. A note came to my mind of a topic that I wanted to do, and I'm gonna kick with this topic actually, because I don't know this franchise that well, and I need you to help me with this one.
Oh, help us
all. So Sean, I don't know if you saw this little story that went out this week. If we ran Nintendo,
oh goodness gracious,
who from Overwatch would we bring to Smash?
Ooh.
This week, the director from Overwatch came out and said Nintendo is free to take any one of our characters and put them in Smash. So you played Overwatch a lot, and I haven't. I'm a noob to the game. I don't even know the characters at all. But the thing is that I am, when Overwatch comes to Switch, I'm buying it and playing it and all that stuff. So, curiosity, if we were to bring a character over, this is a total Sean Capri topic.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Who's the person that should come over to
okay, so I'm sensing that you're not going to allow me to say like all of them because
you can't say all of them. No,
I am on record saying get them all, or at least amiibo. I just want all the characters from Overwatch to have their own amiibo, and I think that would sell like gangbusters.
I will give you this. Okay, this is what I'll give you. I will give you 4 characters. And the reason why I say 4 characters is they can make Echo Fighters. They can make one character.
Interesting.
Okay. And kind of like they did with Dragon Quest, where they had like 4 or 5 characters be the one character. I'll give you that. But
they all kind of play the same, though, right? Like they're all kind of similar.
It doesn't matter. This is our rules. These are our rules. I'm going to give you 4 characters that you can make one that we're going to call it the Overwatch character, but you get 4. Who are the 4 that you pick?
Okay, so the first one is going to be my, like, really quickly to kind of toss away because everybody kind of sees this one coming. But Tracer is the lady with the orange pants.
Yes.
Did you say with the ass? Oh, we said yes.
I said yes. That's the one. That's the only character I know because she's on everything. She's actually in the advertising for the Switch version when you go to the eShop.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Oh God.
Tracer and for recognizability, like that would probably be like the primary.
Yeah,
that'd be the primary one. She's quick. I think a lot like her blink move or whatever, where she kind of like transports all over the place, would cause like real havoc in Smash, and also it'd be a good recovery move. She's got guns, so that would be kind of interesting. You need some range fighters, I think, too. I am tempted to, like, there's a couple characters that like Genji uses a sword. Right, so it's kind of got that familiar kind of like swordplay kind of character. He's kind of almost like a robot ninja kind of dude. Personally, I play as Mercy, which is a support character. She heals everybody.
Okay,
but you can't make a Smash character out of that. No, like I actually don't think like it's too bad because I think she's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know who Mei is, Bobby?
I do not know who Mei is, Sean.
Mei is she's she freezes people. She's basically Mr. Freeze, but a cute little Chinese girl.
Okay.
Kinda. She's Chinese climatologist. Yes. So I think Mei would be really cool because she could really she could just quickly freeze you into a rock, and I think that would be kind of devastating.
Okay.
Which would be a cool power.
Mei is MEI, right?
MEI.
Okay. I know. Okay. I see. I'm looking at the characters now, dude. Talk to me about Reaper.
Reaper is he's kind of scary, Bobby.
Yeah.
He has like 2 kind of handheld shotgun kind of things.
Yeah.
So he's really devastating from kind of close range distance, like medium distance, I guess.
Yeah.
And he would be cool because his ultimate is he'll stand in like the middle of a room and then just like hands out to the side and shoot everybody and basically kill everybody in one. So if you got some sort of like super ability to just shoot everybody all at once, that would be kind of sweet.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now the character that has to be in.
Oh, no.
Because I went to the hero page, and I can click through the different characters.
Okay.
Best character, Wrecking Ball.
Oh, stop.
He is fantastic.
Yeah, he's a hamster.
He's a little hamster that's he's in a ball, and it rolls, and he drops these bombs that are wrecking balls, and then he there's a part where he gets out and starts beating up the gun because the gun breaks, and he's like a mechanic as well. Dude, it's so cute, man.
There's so many of these characters that I would actually like. Some of them are kind of like, I would say, almost on the plain side. Like Soldier 76 is kind of plain. I wouldn't really want him in.
Yeah.
But like Junkrat is a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like he's just like this. He wants to blow everything up. Everything's on fire. He'll just like turn into a tire and roll into a group of guys and just like explode.
Yeah.
He's really interesting. He actually does play more like he doesn't play like a first person shooter. He plays like he's like a third person type of action or even like a brawler kind of fighter like this. I think Junkrat could be there too. So how many have I used up? I don't even know. Okay, so I've used what the hell's her name? Tracer is definitely one.
Yeah.
I'll give you Wrecking Ball. Okay. Wrecking Ball is very Nintendo.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So that kind of gives us one of our bigger characters because Winston is this giant gorilla.
But I think he's kind of Donkey Kong Country-esque, so I don't know if I would mess with him.
I totally agree. But you need something to go up against against Donkey Kong and Bowser. So I think Wrecking Ball would be good.
See, man, but I think I will tell you this: looks-wise, I'm with you on Mercy, dude. Like, she's just a really cool. Reminds me a little bit of Palutena, but man, really good. What about this Ash?
I don't know much about Ash, actually. I think Ash might be new.
Yeah, she's a newer one. She looks like a Western, like a sheriff, like a female sheriff. Really good looking character. Junkrat, dude, looks like the Joker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a total psychopath.
Oh yeah, dude. I'd be dead. Yeah, definitely Junkrat. So we have Tracer, we have Junkrat, and we have
Wrecking Ball.
Mm-hmm. And then
okay, so I got one more.
Yeah,
I like Diva. Diva is like this this tiny little nothing, but she gets in her little mech, and you can kind of have like two ways of playing. Like you can just be her out on her own. It's almost like a Zero Suit Samus kind of situation. Yeah. And then she jumps into her mech and she just like destroys everything. And I think that would be like that's the thing. You look at the way that I think that's why people really like Overwatch is because it basically is like Smash for a first-person shooter with all these heroes and everything, but like these characters just never existed anywhere else.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I like the idea, and here's the thing: I love the idea that Blizzard is embracing Nintendo and going like, "Hey, man, we're gonna bring this game over. This is a game that we know people have been screaming for and clamoring for. We're gonna bring it, and we not only want to bring it, we want to embrace it, and we want you to embrace us. And like, here's our roster." Because you look at that roster, that entire roster could be in Smash, no doubt about it. Yeah. You know, when ARMS first came out, I felt the character models in ARMS felt a lot like Overwatch. I felt like some of those characters could be pulled out of Overwatch. They were trying
to go for sure. Like with the like very unique characteristics and almost like personality, but they still like lack that extra.
Oh, they fell way short, but there was moments that it felt that way.
Sometimes these hero games or whatever, sometimes these games come out and they have like Overwatch is definitely one of them where they've got like the entire background story behind them, and it seems completely like superfluous. It seems useless. It seems like, well, somebody just got paid a whole lot of money to come up with these backstories, but like that kind of stuff matters, and I'm not able to really articulate like why, but other than the fact that these characters feel like they live somewhere else first, and then they're brought over here, and that really does seem to click for people. Now, the only other thing that I wanted to talk about with these guys is with Tracer and with Diva. When Diva jumps out of her mech suit, that would allow them, I think, to have a little bit more of that like hand-to-hand combat, almost like martial art kind of like kicks and punches and things like that. And then they have Tracer with her guns kind of has that range part, and Diva with her mech can really do some damage. And I just because I was looking through, I'm like, this is a shooter that we're bringing into like a fighting game essentially. So does that break the game at all? But I don't necessarily think that it does. I think Wrecking Ball is definitely more of a melee type of character. If not, then maybe like a Reinhardt who looks like basically like this giant Sauron character with like his big mask and helmet and everything. He swings around this huge hammer. I think that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'd be
awesome.
Great.
I mean, that's very Smash anyways, just swinging around a big hammer. But
okay, so that's topic one. Got two more topics that I want to work through real quick and see what we can do. The Nintendo PlayStation prototype console is actually going to go up for sale. I didn't even see what they think it's going to go for. I think it's going to go for a lot, honestly.
Who's selling it?
It's the kid who found it. His grandfather had worked at Sony at the time, and I guess they pulled one away, a friend of his grandfather, and then I guess he gave it to his grandfather, and then they put it away. This all came out like a couple of years ago. This huge story came out.
Right, all these real pictures.
Real pictures. There was actually, if you go to YouTube and look it up, there was actually an interview, and it breaks down like where it came from and how it got found, and they got it working, and it actually works, and there's all this crazy stuff that goes with it. It's pretty awesome. But this is the prototype that Nintendo and Sony were actually going to launch prior to Nintendo basically pulling the rug out from underneath them at E3. This is the one that started the whole big war between Nintendo and PlayStation. This is pretty fantastic. It looks a lot like a Nintendo console at the time, but it has like it has the Super Nintendo controller on it, and it's very like it has that PlayStation vibe and the Nintendo vibe really just mixed together when you look at this console. It's pretty cool. Well, I guess the thing I want to say is, like, obviously if we ran Nintendo, would we buy this thing, or does Nintendo just turn a blind eye to it and just not acknowledge it at all? Because it makes me wonder too, does Nintendo have a prototype of this thing at all?
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because I was just about to say, yeah, definitely, and we're kind of talking off air a little bit about like put it in a museum of some sort, like Nintendo World in New York City.
Yeah,
would be an interesting idea, but like you're right, like they probably shouldn't have to buy something. They gotta have something in like the archives or something.
See, for me, we talked about this prior, but like if I ran Nintendo, when you go, for those that have never been to Nintendo New York, when you go there, there's like a mini museum up top where they showcase all the different consoles, and there's the Game Boy that was featured in a Nintendo Power issue that was like in the Gulf War. That was blown up in the war, but it still works. And you go there, and this thing is actually sitting there playing, the game. And so, like, you see stuff like that, and you go, like, this likens to a museum. Like, this would be like if you went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and you would walk through the museum section and see these cool things. It's pretty neat to me. So, as a Nintendo fan, and as, like, I would love to see Nintendo, because the old Nintendo, I think, would just ignore it. The newer Nintendo that's riding the power of the Switch seems to kind of be like, hey, we're going to be open to everything, and we're gonna be friends with everybody. It'd be kind of cool to see them, like, snatch this up and put it in the store, and just be like, here it is. And as Nintendo, and this is where I would really take it to the next level. What I would do, because it's such a showpiece, and people would want to see it, I would actually move it around to the different Nintendo stores in the world. So, like, I would feature it, like, in the month of January in New York. Hey, it's going to be here for 2 weeks, or it's going to be here for whatever. Hey, now it's going to be in Japan, and it's going to be in Japan for a couple weeks. So then, like, what happens is it draws people into your stores. It's no different than, like, if a museum gets, like, Mona Lisa pieces in, what I mean, or like a Picasso series in their museum, and it's a limited run. Like, that's what Joe After Work does for a living. Like, he sets up in New York, he helps a museum, and they set up shows.
The secret is out. We all now know what he does. That's crazy, man. I don't think I realized that.
So this is kind of like what he does, like, in theory. So it'd be kind of cool to do this, to get this piece and just showcase it around to the different. They just opened the store in Israel, like, set it there. You know what I mean? Like, it would be so amazing to see this stuff.
What do you think the rights are on this thing? Like, do you think Nintendo owns that? Like, is it a shared kind of weird thing with Sony? Like, not that I want to shut it down, but I'm mostly, like, where I'm going with it was, like, how do you then go, like, Nintendo has done the NES Mini, the Super Nintendo Mini or Classic or whatever. Everybody's kind of waiting for the 64 to come out. But, like, what if they had, like, this side series of, like Redheaded Stepchild little consoles like that? Like, that's really, like, because they become little trophies more than anything, like, more than the games that we actually play. Like, wouldn't it be cool to have, like, a 64 DD little mini or something like that? Or, I mean, I think you probably have to do the 64 first. Yeah. But have this or anything else, like even that Game Boy Micro, which I think I don't know if we're talking about that at some point. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Like, wouldn't that, like, some of those, like, weird things that exist, but, like, it would be kind of like this off to the side series of things that you could actually buy. That's why I'm mostly wondering about the rights to this. Like, can they monetize something called, or even just slightly change the name, the Nintendo PlayStation podcast? I can't help but think that you guys took the name over, man.
Yeah, but the thing is so here's the thing, right? I
wonder how many games there are on it.
There was no games on it at all.
You couldn't even play anything on
You
it?
could play. They were playing Super Nintendo games on it.
Oh, okay.
So it had the cartridge base, but discs wise, it was never really set up for like a PlayStation.
Oh, man.
Because it died. It died too soon. You know what I mean? I think there's like a prototype disc that has like demos on it, but nothing major on it.
Okay, so if we ran a side business to Nintendo, we'd release the Nintendo PlayStation, and it would play both PS1 games and Super Nintendo games. It would actually save that PlayStation 1 classic disaster or whatever
I wonder if I just wonder if Sony has any I don't think anybody has rights to it anymore because it's been so long since it's been going.
Oh,
but in theory, it's a stolen piece of merchandise. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder.
Yeah, so how do you sell that? How is that? Is the statute of limitations up on like
it must be
theft?
It must be.
It's like, you're okay, man.
Like, it's just a weird. It's a weird situation. Real quick though, I want to jump into something that I was watching the Player One podcast a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I love that show.
And they both Greg and oh my god,
Chris.
Phil. Mm-hmm. Greg and Phil both bought the Sega Genesis.
Oh yeah,
the mini, but they also bought the additional because you can get they call it the Tower of Power.
Yeah,
Japan actually like got these so Phil actually had his CD. He took it apart. Yeah. Right? This is the in-depthness that Sega went with this thing. When you take the Sega CD apart, there's a fake like looking chipboard in it, and then a disc of Sonic in there. Yeah. And it was like, you'll never see it. It's one unless you take this thing apart, you would have never seen that piece in there. Because Greg brings it up, and Phil immediately jumps up and runs and grabs his and takes it apart on the air because Greg didn't get his yet. But they're getting like, I guess, influencers. This is the difference between Sega and everybody else. Sega just does fan service, I think, a lot better than a lot of other companies.
I totally agree. And especially after reading Console Wars, like how in-depth they went. They're like, that's how we're going to do it. We got to engender this community and everybody.
Yeah. And not that many people are huge Sega fans, and I'm definitely, people know that I'm not a Sega fan at all, but at the end of the day, like a fan of pop culture, a fan of video gaming, I totally get and respect what they did here. Like, they actually went out to influencers and was like, here's the Tower of Power. Something that totally destroyed that company. Yeah. They embrace it. And here's Nintendo that won't even bring up the Virtual Boy ever again. And here's Sega going like, yeah, this thing basically destroyed our company, but you know what? Here it is. And it's like so cool, you know what I mean?
I can't wait for them to do something with the Dreamcast. They've got to be doing like
sure they are. I'm sure they are.
These cult classic things.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Pretty
that'd be great, man. Yeah, for sure.
So this week, Hideki Kamiya, who is basically one of the CEOs or the head honcho.
That's what his business card says.
Yeah, over at Platinum Games.
Platinum Games, head honcho.
He basically came out this week and he compared the Switch to the Switch Lite to the PS Vita and told Nintendo he wants a Nintendo Switch Micro.
Yeah.
Now, we get into this situation where people are like, hey, man, the debate right now with the Switch or the Switch Lite is, well, do I really need it? It's a smaller console. Does it work well? I don't know if I want it. I don't know if I need it. So it makes me look at Nintendo and look at the Nintendo Switch and the Switch Lite and go, is there a place in the market for a Nintendo Switch Micro? And the thing is like, he's not talking. My first thought was like, oh, you want this little tiny system? No. He's not saying that. He just wants something smaller than the Switch Lite, probably more the size of a Vita. And when you look at the comparison, the Vita is a little bit smaller than the Switch Lite. I will be honest. I love playing the Switch Lite. I feel like as a handheld, it just works really well.
I'm playing on my Vita like I've got my Switch here to compare it to, but I don't. Yeah. But here's the Vita anyways.
But the Vita is, just hold that up for a second. The Vita is very more ergonomically shaped with the roundness and stuff, The one thing that I do like about the Vita is I like that the two sticks are down low.
Mm-hmm.
But that's neither here nor there. I just kind of like that. But I feel like he's onto something. I feel like that would sell like crazy.
This would sell like crazy.
Yeah.
You got to wonder if the next version, like, because I think the Switch Lite, it looks like it's a little bit maybe for the kids version. It's not quite at that 2DS level. Mm-hmm. It's not as like indestructible. This is kind of getting there. But even then, like, I remember getting the Vita for the first time thinking like, what a fragile thing. Mm-hmm. Like, which is like, and I was really comparing it to the DS or 3DS back then, where like the full clamshell. So it would be interesting, but I think they could go smaller, man. And I kind of wish that this was the size that they approached. If they're going to take away TV, that it go down to this size.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Switch Lite still like wants to be docked. Like it's still the size. Like it would fit great in there, and it
won't fit in the dock.
It doesn't fit at all.
No.
Was that how? Like it's smaller though. How does that even?
The dock. It's because it doesn't fit in the dock. The dock is too wide.
You can't even charge it?
No, you could charge it, but you can't charge it in the dock.
Oh, so the thumbsticks.
Yeah, it runs into the...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, wow, so the screen's not... Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm the slowest person, obviously.
Well, the thing with the Switch Lite is it fits in your pocket.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
And that's something that does not happen with the regular Switch. Like, the regular Switch doesn't fit in your pocket. And that's the one thing that I love about the Switch Lite is I literally went out the other day and I was walking around and I had it in my back pocket. And I was like, I can't do this with any other
I'm so
console.
tempted, dude. I'm so, like...
It's nice.
I don't really play docked ever. Like, my Switch time is on the bus, so I just do... Like, just streaming is really the only thing.
Yeah.
I don't really stream Nintendo games very often, but I don't want to, like, completely remove that. I'm so close, dude. To just, I think it's just a special edition. I think that's the thing.
See, I would love if they did a micro edition or whatever, if they just really went and they were like, you know what, this is going to be an expensive piece.
Oh, you think so? Even more expensive than
I would like to be, if it was me personally, right, I would like it to be the cost of a regular Switch, really drop some money into that screen. Because that's the one thing about the Vita. The Vita had a gorgeous screen.
Yeah.
So if you really drop the money into the screen and really make it something special, I think you could really have something amazing on your hands. So if I ran Nintendo, I would definitely do it. But I would go and say, like, we're not going to make it a cost-effective piece. This is a collector's piece. This is something for people that are serious about gaming. This is something that is for people that are serious about, handheld gaming. And we're going to actually just dive in and make the battery life super strong, make the screen very powerful, and just go with it, man.
Thumbsticks, pro thumbsticks. No more of this, like compromise on thumbsticks because it's a handheld.
Well, I did read an article. I did read an article this week that Nintendo is actually working on a 2.0 version of the Switch Lite with better analog sticks.
Yeah,
because I think they're starting to get worried about the drifting issue.
Starting?
Well, no, I mean like for the Switch Lite.
Yeah, I know.
So I think because the thing is people are attacking them for the drifting, but they've come out and they've basically said like, hey, you can fix this stuff. We will fix this stuff. Like, no big deal. I don't know whether that's good enough for people, apparently. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think that we could, as a Nintendo company, we could do a little bit better with the I would do the Vita-esque, the micro, and I would just really dive in deep on it and do something special with it. We got 2 questions. The next 2 topics are powered by Patreon. You too can submit a question each week for as little as $1 a month. Just go to patreon.com/YouMeCapri. First topic comes from Timothy Aulph. Forget if you ran Nintendo. If you ran another company with the means to buy Nintendo and Nintendo was willing to sell, what company would you be and why are you buying Nintendo? For me, one company came to mind.
Same here.
One company has the money. One company has the means. Apple.
Yep.
To me, Apple is a no-brainer of a company to buy. Nintendo has emulated the way Apple does things for a long time now. And I think it's vice versa. I think Apple tries to do things that Nintendo does at sometimes. They both are very backwards companies, meaning they don't necessarily always do what you expect. And I think
they both have a focus on hardware, and then they build their software around it. They have like this. Well, I don't even know which one comes first necessarily, but they have this like very unique marriage of hardware and software. And I think that's where like Steve Jobs really came in. Was how can you make sure that you're building the best software if you're not in complete control of the hardware kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I think Nintendo is exactly the same, and it makes them. I think that focus makes them weird. It makes them like their focus is on something that nobody else is really thinking about. It'd be interesting to see what would happen if those companies collided, because a couple of other, I would say, companies are like up for grabs here, right? Like I think Apple is like it's a fit. I think they have more than enough money. It's probably like a couple times over, in cash to just go ahead and buy Nintendo. Although now they should have bought in the Wii U days, man. It'd cost them a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see like what would Disney do? Like does Mario sit next to Mickey Mouse in a way that makes sense? And like I would say maybe 10 years ago, that answer would be like, that doesn't make any sense. How can they manage those two titans of like iconic characters? But I think when you look at Disney with now Star Wars and Pixar and everything else that they bought, Marvel and everything, like they actually have a way where like maybe gaming sits alongside their TV or their video, their film production. I think that would be kind of interesting, but doesn't quite seem like as good a fit as Apple for some reason. Maybe it's just that they haven't really done anything in tech, but like maybe that would actually be a good reason why Disney would want to jump in, because they see Apple and they see Google like kind of making moves and everything, making their way into people's homes. Maybe that would be a way for them to kind of like check off that final box as Disney gets into our homes with Disney Plus and services. How do they sell us hardware? I don't know if that's even and games. I don't know if that's
let's be fair. Disney walked away from gaming a while ago, and they basically license out their stuff. And I feel like
this would be like that permanent licensing it out though. That's
and I don't
I'm
want
glad you
that.
mentioned that.
And I want that. You look at what they've done with Star Wars franchise. Like that franchise is dead. Like they basically gave it to EA. EA has crippled that franchise completely, and you had a money printing machine that just was given to you. I mean, you paid for it. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, I look at Apple. I look at Apple. I look at Disney, and I look at Disney as just a company that's all they care about is money, and that's it. And granted, all companies care about money, but I feel like Disney puts up this facade of family-friendly, but on the backside, that's all they care about is money, and that's it. They don't care about fan service to some degree. Certain things they do, certain things they don't, but I feel ultimately, like you look at what they did with, I just look at Star Wars, and I look at them basically
on the gaming side.
On the gaming
or
side.
On the movie side as well.
Even the movie side, like it's just like, it feels like they have no direction on what's going on. It feels like a big cluster where the Marvel side was handled so good that when they bought the thing is the Marvel side was handled so well that when they bought Star Wars, everybody was like, "Oh my god, this is going to be amazing," and it just hasn't felt amazing. And maybe that's because the fan bases are different, and maybe one side of fans expect more than the other side of fans. I don't know.
Because you just put J.J. Abrams in charge of everything, all right? Just keep him. He's the one who did Force Awakens. He had the vision. Just why they let anybody else even come close to that is beyond me, but that's a whole other conversation.
You look at the game side, and that's what Nintendo is at the heart, a games company, right? At the heart of things, that's what's first is the video games, and then everything else is starting to spawn off of that. But when you look at it, you go like, granted, Disney would be awesome because you'd have the amusement rides and all that stuff, but that's already happening at Universal. So it'd be one of those things. It'd be a Marvel thing again, where in Disney World, they can't have Marvel characters in the park because of the contract with Universal.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
so you go to the Hulk roller coaster at Universal. That's insane.
Yeah, so that's step one, right? So that's step one that you have a problem with. Step two is you look at how they just gave away the license to EA. Could you imagine if they were just like, who's the highest bidder? And then here comes Activision or EA or Ubisoft, right? And they bid out and they get the franchise. And any company other than Ubisoft, I wouldn't want having the franchises. You know, like
I wasn't even thinking that would be the way that I feel like if they were to buy Nintendo, all of that goes away. They wouldn't have to do that anymore. They wouldn't have to find the game makers anymore because they have Nintendo. They're the ones making the game, and they kind of take over from there. And it'd be super interesting to see like some cross-pollination there as well, to see Nintendo, like some first-party or second-party studios, some people who have made great Nintendo games make Marvel games or make a Star Wars game. Like what if the world's biggest franchises and properties, Star Wars and Marvel and everything else, exclusive to Nintendo systems? Like that's maybe the why you partner in that way, where
that Apple makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
That makes now it's making sense.
Like it's actually a flip, right? Instead of going to like other developers and publishers to make the games, they're like, well, we don't want to do that anymore, so we're going to buy Nintendo, one of the best game makers on the planet, and hardware makers, and we'll just like, you guys take care of all of our licensing, all of our movie games go to Nintendo, and you just play them on Switch from now on. That's actually not a bad idea.
Well, I will throw the Apple mix back in one more time, and the only thing with that is, I feel like with the way gaming is moving, with the services package, I feel like Apple's more geared towards what the future's going to be.
That's a good point.
Where I don't feel like Disney has a grasp on video games because they've pushed them away. Now, I mean, who knows? I like
Disney Plus got you gaming service too, though. Like Disney Plus with all of the movies and everything.
And that's what I'm coming back with. I feel like either one of those companies are really strong. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a really strong argument. I feel like, I guess when I look at it and I go, who handles acquisitions better? Mm-hmm. I feel like Apple handles acquisitions better.
What have they acquired?
Beats.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like that, they've taken that up tremendous numbers. Like, so for me, when I look at that side of things, I go, okay, that might be better than where it is, but that's not saying that they're the best suit. Like, I'm just throwing different things in the mix.
Yeah.
I probably, like you've talked me into, probably going with the Disney route just because Disney seems more logistically inept to do this.
They just, I don't know, it's from the original days of Disney. There's like this focus on quality, and Apple has this as well. Like it's actually pretty common between the two of them, where they do not sacrifice quality.
No.
Right? Like they'll take that time, and it'll be a more expensive product to develop, or movie, or whatever it is, but it's always better. The animation right from day one out of Disney was the best, and that was the focus. And I think the build quality of Apple stuff, always the best. It's going to be more expensive. It'll become maybe a premium product or a luxury product. But I think that's why, and I think Nintendo's exactly the same. You have Nintendo tax that we're talking about all the time. Like this stuff is like objectively less powerful and costs as much, if not more.
Yeah.
Like all those things are common across, I think, Nintendo, Disney, and Apple. And it's not necessarily the same to be said about Microsoft, although they're getting theirs with their Surface stuff now. It's not the same with Google. Like they're always offering, I would say, like that budget line kind of thing, like that entry level Android phone or whatever. It's always got that. You can go up, don't get me wrong, but Disney, Apple, and Nintendo, they all started like top of the line stuff and making it pristine right from the start.
Yeah.
Okay. What an interesting topic, man.
Yeah, that was a good topic. That was a good topic. That was a good topic. But Tim also has a bonus topic, and I just want to do it. Bonus question: how many questions has Brendan Myers asked since this has started, and do you think he'll ever run out of questions? Well, Tim, it's real simple. He hasn't run out yet because our next topic comes from Brendan Myers. If we ran Nintendo, what would be our ultimate sports / kart / party games, and focus on continuing to make content for the games instead of, or would we continue to make content for the games instead of working on new games even adding retro modes like Double Dash into kart and such. So we've talked about this often. I feel like of all the franchises, I think it's a no-brainer. The Mario Party games, all that, like, it means nothing. The game is Mario Kart. Yeah. That is where you would focus all your front. I would not focus on sports or party games. Mario Kart would be the legacy game. And it's simple for me. Real simple for me. Mario Kart 9 would be renamed Mario Kart Ultimate. You would buy a season pass with it. That would be a yearly subscription of $40. And every year, we would implement a massive set of cups that would come out.
Yep.
And with those cups, you would get, like, retro. Like, this cup is the Double Dash cup. And, like, you get all those tracks remastered, all those characters, all those karts, everything. And that would be what I would do. The first implement of, Mario Kart Ultimate would be, hey, you're getting all the characters. Yeah. Like, you're going to get every single character, and this new mode would be implemented. And then I would be like, hey, 6 months from now, we're now taking all the Mario Kart 8 tracks and infusing them. So your first buy of the game and the season pass, because that's going to be a $100 bump right out the gates. You're going to spend $100 for this right out the gates, but here's why. We're going to give you all these characters that's been in every single game. We're not going to give you the kart stuff yet because of the whole each year that we offer, we're going to give an infuse. So, like, year one, year one is basically your Mario Kart 9 Ultimate. 6 months in, we're going to infuse all the Mario Kart 8 stuff. So there comes all your karts, all your stuff that they have implemented. Then year two would be, okay, here comes Mario Kart Ultimate Double Dash. And everything from Double Dash, all the remastered tracks, all the remastered music, all the characters are already there, right? But all the karts, everything is in. Then year 3, we go Mario Kart Ultimate / N64 edition. And all your tracks from there go in. And then the Super, it doesn't have to be in that order. You can always change it. But then you have the Super Nintendo edition or whatever. And in the meantime, what I would do, because you're buying a season pass of $40, I don't feel like the value is there for $40. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go every time we do an implement, we also add 4 brand new, never played tracks before. Like,
yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking that every, like, it's like an expansion pack is basically what Destiny 2 just did, and that's kind of where I fast forward a couple years. What the launch of Ultimate has to be a paid product,
yes,
and has everything in there. It's this jam packed thing, and like I even think about all karts, all tracks, all characters, everything is in there from day one, and that from there you're building forward.
Yeah,
that that you start with all that stuff that you said that you're going to add on year over year, that you start with that, and then year over year, that's where you start to iterate with, like, new modes, the next, like, whatever other characters you can possibly do, new tracks, everything like that. And at some point, year 2 or year 3, Mario Kart is a free-to-play game that you pay for expansion packs from then on in. So that you have this, if you, in a couple of years, surely the Switch will hit 100 million units sold.
Yeah.
Everybody has access to Mario Kart, and everybody's going to be incentivized to buy that $30, $40 expansion pack or whatever it is. I mean, Destiny, the monetization that Destiny is seeing right now, I think is absolutely brilliant. They've engendered this giant community over the years. They're now doing cross save, so you can play really anywhere, making it accessible to everyone, and then you can still pay for it. Like, I don't know how they've managed to do this. It's very much, it's a World of Warcraft type of model. And I think that there are a few games that, like, go up into that echelon of franchises. I think Mario Kart is or could be one of them.
Absolutely.
But they've been limited to, like, I think a traditional style of rollout, which is maybe one per system. And that's kind of, is that all we've got? One per?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Holy crap. So
this might be the first time we get 2 on a console. Like,
this should be one of Nintendo's first, I think, of a few games as service.
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. Like, You look at The Sims, right? Sims 4, where they just like, here comes an
Right.
expansion pack, and here's all this stuff you could do now. Like, do something like that. Like, this is the franchise that you do it with. Mario Golf is another one that you could do it with. Like, you go, here's all the tracks, here's all the courses, here's all the clubs, here's all the stuff.
Their stuff.
And then, like, boom, every couple of months, here comes new courses. Like, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, because how do you go from, like, they've had so many iterations of all these games. They're like, this one's a little bit different, this one's a little bit different. Like, it starts to, because there's been so many, even though they're not annualized like sports games, it starts to feel like a sports game. It starts to feel like this one has this extra bullet point on it, and that's it. And it's like, that gets so tired now that we're into the 8th and 9th version of Mario Kart, and you're like, we get this one thing, then we're dropping off this other thing. We keep losing something to gain something else. So how do you eliminate that? It's just throw it all in there, get it done once, charge everybody $60 for it. It'll sell probably 30, 40 million copies, for God's sakes, and then kind of move forward from there. I don't think anybody is disputing that. And I think that would be like, Nintendo needs an introduction to that. Yeah. Like, where DLC for Mario Kart was like really the first time that they did DLC. Yeah. And they hit it out of the park. And that allowed them to start experimenting with DLC in other games as well. I think if they start with other ones, it's a little bit trickier because that audience is not used to some of these new, more modern, like contemporary versions of how you're interacting with games, how you're paying for games, and how you're being like looped in forever, essentially. Yeah. So they need to do it in a safe way and in a familiar way in a game that everybody's going to touch. And that's like, there's no other game than Mario. I mean, Smash is probably up there as well. Yeah. But they could do that as well. Actually, I'd probably do this exact same model. They probably got a head start on that. At what point does Smash go free to play, and then you're just like new expansion pack, and everybody kind of like, you can choose to jump in on that?
They just announced they're going to keep going with DLC characters.
Well, DLC for sure, yeah. I mean, that'd just be so. I'd love to hear what other people have to say about this. Like, what else you would want in an expansion pack for Smash? I'm not nearly as familiar with Smash as I am with Mario Kart, but that would be super interesting to me. New challenges or something like that that people could do.
They could do new challenges. They could do retro maps. You know, like they could do so much stuff, but that'd be the way I go. Yep. So that is all. Thank you guys for. I wasn't going to let you get there. That is all. Thank you guys for listening to another episode.
I wasn't even thinking. I'm so disappointed with myself. Damn it.
Of If We Ran Nintendo, episode 1.
Always expanding.
No,
he's always expanding. It's
never.
Perfect.
Shut up. Episode 169 is now in your ears. Thank you guys for listening to another episode. Sean Capri, you can check him out over on Twitter. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Check him out over on twitch.tv/Sean Capri. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.
Ellie has a pink little doggy stuffy named Kirby, and we did it because we knew that you would hate it.
time for that sweet, sweet hang with my sweet, sweet Sean Capra.
That's the best one yet.
Oh,